Now today we're going to be looking at my creative process while I fashion illustrate. Like, I'm really into like fashion and all that stuff, you know. So right now I'm just drawing out the basic shape of the model. I really like to use like loosey-goosey material just so I can express myself creatively. So it might not look exactly like the model, but I'm just letting all my like creative juices just flow out, you know. At the moment I'm painting the bodice, you know, the bodicey bit with the jumper. And as you know, well, as some of you might know, I really enjoy using ink. It's just something about it. So currently I'm like painting the skirt, which is really nice. So I'm using like a higher concentration of ink, obviously because the skirt's darker than the top. Yeah, it's so hot in England right now. Whew. And plus I'm wearing this wig, so I'm like, it's sweltering. Look at my top. I used to love her. Yeah, so currently I am painting. I'm still painting the skirt, and now I'm doing the shoes. Personally, I'd never wear these shoes, but they're cute. I know I could have gotten a lot of like a sharper silhouette for the shoe, but I really didn't want to change brushes. I feel like if I think too much about what I'm doing, it kind of stops my creation process. Do you know what I mean? So if you're like doing something and you're like, oh, I need to use this now, it just stops that train of consciousness, that stream of consciousness, if you know what I mean. Right now I'm doing the hands. Like, I know technically like the model's skin isn't that color, but I just needed to map out my thoughts on paper. And I really enjoy how, look at my fan, I really enjoy how the ink dries. This type of ink dries. It doesn't dry completely black, it distills a little bit, so there's a lot more color. And now I'm just doing, I've moved on to the other figure, and I'm just trying to neaten it up a little bit. I've drawn the kind of like skeleton, like figure. Oh my god, this wig. And now I'm just focusing on one of the main garments, which is the bag. If you haven't realized, I think this is PRADA. I'm not too sure. I think it's PRADA. Yeah, so I'm focusing on the bag. I didn't really want to use white, so I tried to focus on the negative space when I was creating the bag. And now I'm using a lighter concentration of ink on the skirt, just so I can separate it from the shadow of the bag, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Whoa, so hot. Yeah, it's not in shop. I am like doing the shoes at the moment. Yeah, I can see it. So I'm just focusing on the shoes, trying to get the general shape in. I know I could be a lot neater and more precise, but it's my creative process. I just need to get it out there. And I find when I try and be a little bit too neat, it just takes away from the freshness of the piece. You know what I mean? Like, when I say freshness, I just mean you can feel the energy in it and the movement. When I'm like too neat, it's just a bit robotic and it just loses something. That's just my opinion. Like, I personally like artwork with energy, you know. If it's just too plain, then it's just a bit, if it's too neat, I just find that it's just too literal and it's just boring. But that's just me. right now I'm going on to the final figure, which is the same as before, but I'm just focusing on the actual silhouette. So I'm trying to neaten it up. I've realized I've kind of extended her figure, so I've made her even more tall. And essentially with fashion illustration, you do have to kind of exaggerate proportions because these models are just so statuesque. So do you remember, I don't know if you've seen it, but I did a video about warming up before you paint, and essentially the two figures before this one is my warm-up. And look how neat and precise I'm being. I'm being so precise right now, and I'm kind of proud. When this is all over, in the comments, let me know which figure's your favorite. I feel like from an artistic point of view, like just a plain fine art point of view, yes, the first one is very expressive, but it doesn't really convey it doesn't really show the clothing, does it? It doesn't really show you any of the garments, what it looks like. Do you know what I mean? I think the second one is a great crossover between the artistic analytic quality and fine art, emotion, interpretation. But the last one is the most literal because you have to show off the garment. Like, sometimes you don't have space to be your most artistic. You just have to do what the client wants, innit? As you can see, this piece took a few days. So yeah, this is the next day now. And at the moment I'm trying to use, I'm using a Posca marker just to neaten up the edge on the first one, just so you can actually see what's going on, you know? And actually I didn't really mind that the ink bled into the paint. I don't know, I just really like, I just like seeing the qualities of the material shine, you know? Yeah, so I'm neatening up the leg. I'm trying really hard to show you that it's an actual leg and not just a mistake. Yeah. The added brush stroke is it just needs to go. It doesn't need to be there. How are you, by the way? How are you guys? You good? You good? Hope so. This weather's been so hot. Yeah, so now I just kind of thought, let me just use a bit of acrylic. Is it acrylic or gouache? I think it's gouache. I don't really like acrylic, so I'm trying to as I said before, I'm trying to neaten up because the Posca was taking too long. It was just taking too long. I'm like trying to like get it out of the container and it just wouldn't come out. So yeah, I'm trying to make her face look as cute as it was in the picture, because like, it was kind of a bit lopsided there. You know, I'm just neatening it up, you know, and I really like the color distillation around the head. It kind of looks like a halo to me, and I do that. I've done like other artworks with like halos around black models' heads because I don't really see any images of us as being angels. That's what kind of messes me up a bit. So when you think of a cherub, you never see a black person as a cherub or as an angel, and it's annoying. Yeah, so now I'm making sure that the other foot behind, you know, the first leg stays behind it and doesn't look just like a weird limb. what I find like just a bit weird is, not weird, but just a bit interesting, is I like to wear like really bright colours. I don't really wear wigs outside the house. It's just like, I used to cosplay a lot, as you can see. I used to cosplay a lot, and Comic-Con, like, where's Comic-Con? Where's Comic-Con? Comic-Con's not here anymore, so like I'm just gonna wear makeup and stuff in the house. But anyway, I really love wearing bright colours, but I've noticed my artwork's gotten really dark, man. Like after uni, like mad stuff happened to me and my artwork's gotten like dark. I don't really, there was just a period in my life where I just didn't use any colour and I was so depressed. So whoa, intense. So now I'm trying to get like the hand, I'm trying to give like the gesture of a hand, you know. And I think now I'm moving on to the second figure. Yeah, so now I'm testing the postcard to see if it actually works. Please work, don't flood my page. And now I'm using the grey postcard to draw out her jumper. It's crazy how like garments with holes in it is being sold. Do you know what I mean? So if a lower class person had loads of holes in their garments, it wouldn't be a good thing, would it? But a rich person does it and it's like, oh, it's fashion. Oh, do you know what I mean? It's crazy. Yeah, so there's loads of holes in this. And I'm just trying to cover up the ink mark, like, you know, like the ink, like the initial like ink like figures. I'm just trying to cover that up at the moment. I'm just trying to separate the shadow of the bag from the jumper, because I don't want it to be like a big like splodge. I need it to be separate, if you know what I mean. So now I'm trying, I think at the moment I'm trying to blend out the arm mark just so it looks like her sleeve. So she's wearing like a white sleeve, but you know when you have white things, it's never white, is it? It's always like, always have like different tones to it. And now I'm trying, I think now I'm trying to blend out the shape of her head, because as I said before, it's quite lopsided. It's lopsided and it just doesn't look good, does it? So I'm just trying to blend that out a little. Yeah. So initially I was blending it out with water, but now I'm using a little bit of gouache to give me like a stronger line. And I realised her shoulder was a bit like, her shoulder was just a little bit too like, nyeh. So I'm trying to calm that down a little bit. Now I'm like colouring in the splodges, not splodges, I mean like the holes in the garment, just so you can see it's actually white, because I don't really like leaving paper just exposed. Like if I'm gonna paint it, I'm gonna paint it, yo. But in terms of the bag, I felt like I needed to leave that exposed, so just so I can show you know, like the expression of my line. I just wanted to show that, because I didn't want to like clean it up too much. I just needed to show that little bit of energy in my piece. I'm making sure that I show her other arm, because I know she's got another arm near her back. You know, I'm talking about the second figure. And now I'm actually drawing out the bag on the third figure, making sure that I get a good rendition of it. Not perfect, because I feel like, as I said before, like if things are too perfect, it just gets a bit clinical, and I don't really like clinical drawings. Like photorealism is so cool, but like we've got cameras, man. Like I know I can do photorealism, I can do it, yo, but we've got cameras and we have to show our individuality, otherwise what's the point? Yeah, so just now I just rubbed everything out just so I have a light reference, and now I'm drawing those silly holes in the jumper, and now I'm rubbing it out. I'm just marking out her top, you know, her undershirt thingy, and as you can see, I've made the arms really long, like so long. And now I'm drawing the face. I kind of wish that I didn't even start. I wish I didn't even start, because there were points when I was getting too hung up on making the model look like her, and I didn't need to do that. It's fashion. I don't need to focus on the face, but then I focused on it. Silly. I didn't need to do that, and I shouldn't have, but you live and you learn. Next time I won't be, but I probably will, because so now I'm going in with a bit of watercolor, just a bit of watercolor, just to give just to show that it's a black model. I think it's important to, when it is a black model, like show her, because especially a dark skinned model, we're just pushed out of so many areas because we're dark. We're pushed out of it, and I feel like it's really important to show us off. So here we go. Now you're gonna see me focus on the skin color, and I shouldn't have. I should have just used, like, I should have quickly just used a pencil quickly. But the thing is with watercolor, when you use a little bit, it dilutes, and then it changes the whole color of the thingy bob. And then it looks like you've whitewashed the person, and it's like, no, I'm not whitewashing, it's just dried a bit funny. So yeah, now I'm overthinking things. I didn't need to do that, honestly. I didn't need to do it. Like, I'm really, when I work with color, I make sure the color is like perfect, and I made her skin tone a bit too red, and I was like, no, but she has more of a bluey skin tone, so I'm overthinking it. Now I'm like, I'm gonna add more blue, and then you know what I mean? Yeah, I should have just went in with one of my pencils. It would have been so much quicker. But the next fashion illustration I do, you'll see. I'll take note of what I've done. And with watercolor, it takes such a long time to dry. I just feel like you really have to think in layers. Like, you have to think as if each little bit of watercolor, you're painting on a piece of acetate, and then you're gonna put more on top and more on top and more on top. the watercolor has dried up a little bit, and now I'm going in with the pencil, which is what I should have done initially. Because look, I haven't even started working on the whole like garments and stuff, but it's fine. Like, I'm learning to be more free, because I was really, when I was in uni, I was a really free artist. I used to like fill up a sketchbook like every day. I was just like really quick, and I don't want to lose that youthful, like fiery, like quick essence. I don't want to lose it. Here's a tip for like younger artists and all that, just budding artists. I think you should have a visual diary. A visual diary would be very useful to just like get out all of your energy, just see how things are going. I think it's really important for artists to do that, and I should actually do it. I should really be on that, but you know. Yeah, so now I'm going in with a darker color. I gave her like some lipstick. I'm like overthinking it. Like, what am I doing? Like, she looks alright, but I could have made it better. But then there was a point where I just thought, you're doing too much, Serena. You're doing too much. And at this point I'm like, oh shit. Yeah. And now I'm like adding more color because my skin tone doesn't match, and I'm just, come on man, it doesn't match, and I'm like dabbing it now, overthinking, but it's all good. So now I finally moved away from her face. I'm just like, oh, whatever, it's fashion, Serena. So I just use graphite just to give the expression of, like, you know, like the bumbly, like the fluffiness of the jumper. I use that to like give the piece texture, you know. And now I'm just quickly like scribbling the like shading the skirt, because I just feel like if I used black paint I would have lost something. I would have lost the movement. I want to show that she's like moving. So by using the graphite and the bog standard pencil, I can shade in like certain parts of it and make it, you know, just a little bit more expressive. And now I'm using one of my favorite things, ink. So I'm going over the textured graphite with ink. And what I love about this ink, like I said before, is that it changes color as it dries. Which I love. I love that shit, man. Yeah, so I'm being really careful to like paint around the strap and not paint over the, like, you know, like the stupid little holes the stupid little holes in the jumper. I just need to make sure that I don't mess up, you know what I mean. And now I'm going around the little annoying strap bits. I should have, my voice is going all croaky, but I should have used a smaller brush, but like I just weren't thinking. I wasn't thinking. I was just like, let me do this. But I feel like in the future I'm gonna lay out my brushes like in order of thickness, so I can just pick them up without being like stuck in the headspace of like, I just want to get this done and just release it from myself. So I need to be more organized as an artist. Prepare my materials before I start. I'm really impatient, so it's sometimes I find it hard to plan certain things. But now I'm going into like the folds of the jumper. I'm going into, you know, like the seam bit, the bit that connects I'm just trying to create some like dimension and stuff like that, like especially under her bust. I'm trying to do that. But I don't want to overwork it. I know very well that I could just copy it to the T, but I still want to have an element of myself in there. And now I'm using my mechanical pencil to sharpen the lines of the strap. So before I painted around the negative space, but now I'm going into the positive space just to define it a bit more. It takes a while, man. Yeah, so now I'm using like a teeny brush just to paint the strap. I don't know why I was using the graphite, the mechanical pencil, but now I'm using ink. I know what I was thinking. I was thinking that if I used the mechanical pencil, I just feel like it would have been too harsh and it would have stood out too much away from the jumper. Do you know what I mean? The harsh line would have been too much. So that's why I used like a really soft, like distilled amount of ink to do the outlines. It's quite fiddly, but I do enjoy painting. I enjoy painting a lot. I think in the future I might get some even thinner brushes just so I can really get in there and do the detail. Because when I do focus on detail, I get really like hyper focus on it. So I think that would be a good challenge for me, because usually when I was in uni, as I said before, I used to paint really quickly, but it'll be a good task for me to try and do some detailed work, you know, like super detailed, like stupidly, like maybe, I don't know. I'm always trying to challenge myself and challenge like what I'm doing and stuff. So in the future, I'll probably give myself like 5-minute challenges and upload it, because this took over 2 days. Over 2 days. So as you can see now, I'm going back into the folds of the jumper, and I just want to make sure that I have different, you can see like the different layers of ink. Now I'm using the mechanical pencil again, and I'm just shading around the bag so it actually looks like a bag. Oh my god, it's gotten so dark. Okay, let's finish this. Now I've decided to make the background slightly darker, you know, like a vignette, just so my artwork kind of stands out a little bit. I just don't like white. Just plain white. I can't stand it. So I just felt like I needed to add a little bit more depth to my piece of artwork. You know, what type of brush did I use? I think I used like a really transparent watercolor brush just to add that effect, get that vignette-iness. and now I'm using the blur tool just to blend in the brush marks, and now I'm getting rid of that like weird mark, like the weird mark around the model's head, and now I'm just making the jumper slightly darker. I just felt like it needed to be darker. And I think now I'm like drawing in certain parts of the bag that I couldn't manage to do. And now I'm just checking it for all my layers and stuff. I just realised the bag didn't really stand out from the jumper, and there were some parts of it that just didn't look right. And now I'm just genuinely just getting rid of some of the weird marks and like the weird lines. You know, with the way that watercolors dry, it kind of like dries outwards. When it dries, it kind of spreads a little bit. Oh, now it's done. So I'm pretty happy with how it looks. You can see the first one, I'm just generally like mapping out my ideas. The second one, you know, I'm just trying to get her to look more like a form, like a legit thingy. And the third one, the detail, I went a bit harder with the detail. I extended her proportions so she looks like a model, so I can just, so in my head she just looks like a model, and I'm pretty much pleased with it. I think next time, as I said before, I'm not gonna focus so much on her face. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching my video. Please let me know what you thought in the comments below. Thank you. Look at my shirt.